Garo Honu no Kokuin. In the name of the king, the Valiante Kingdom launched hunts to exterminate users of witchcraft. 17 years later, their pursuit is still growing in both size and brutality. Unbeknownst to the citizens, the targets of these witch hunts are secret protectors of humanity. Known as the Makai Knights and Alchemists, they have a strong will to protect people from horrors, demons who possess souls plagued by sadness and pain. One such Makai Knight is 17-year-old Leon Lewis, who inherits the legendary armor of the Golden Knight Garo from his mother. Though he possesses great power, he struggles to overcome the hatred he bears from his mother's death at the hands of the kingdom. His father German, known as Zoro the Shadow-Cutting Knight, is still training Leon when he is called to investigate the upsurge of horrors in the kingdom's capital. Although German knows Leon's will is still wavering, he decides to bring Leon along to continue his training. As German and Leon head to the capital, the king's amiable son, Alfonso San Valiente, struggles to find a solution to the growing horror threat. But before he can do so, he is double-crossed and banished from his own kingdom. To return home, Alfonso sets out to find the help and strength he needs to reclaim the throne. During his search, he comes across Leon, whose interactions with the prince will forever change both of their fates. Kiseiju, Sei no Kakuritsu. All of a sudden, they arrived, parasitic aliens that descended upon Earth and quickly infiltrated humanity by burrowing into the brains of vulnerable targets. These insatiable beings acquire full control of their host and are able to morph into a variety of forms in order to feed on unsuspecting prey. 16-year-old high school student Shinichi Izuma falls victim to one of these parasites, but it fails to take over his brain, ending up in his right hand instead. Unable to relocate, the parasite, now named Miki, has no choice but to rely on Shinichi in order to stay alive. Thus, the pair is forced into an uneasy coexistence and must defend themselves from hostile parasites that hope to eradicate this new threat to their species.
Cause I'm loving it, feeling it, touch me and being it, see what I see in it, I'm typical, messing around with it, mix it up, go with it, flow with it, let it all go, oh Lord, think you know what I'm like.
Darwin's Game. High school student Kanami Sudao receives an invitation from a classmate to play Darwin's Game, a mobile game he has never heard of. However, as soon as he opens the application, a green snake suddenly pops out from his phone screen and bites his neck, leaving him unconscious. Waking up in the infirmary without any signs of a snake bite, he is told by the school to take the rest of the day off. Although he is puzzled by what has happened, he dismisses the surreal experience as a hallucination and boards the train home. Unfortunately, his curiosity gets the better of him, and he uses the application once again. As the application appears to be just like any other battle game, Konami breathes out a sigh of relief and decides to start his first match. However, the pleasant surprise is short-lived, as his in-game opponent unexpectedly appears right in front of him and attempts to hunt him down with a knife. As he desperately runs for his life, Konami puts two and two together and realizes that Darwin's Game is not just an ordinary game, but rather it's a brutal fight for survival. O7 Ghost. Farsburg Empire's military academy is known for training elites who bring victory to the Empire. Students of the academy freely utilize an ability called Xiphon to fight, while the types of Xiphon usually depend on the nature of the soldier. Tato Klein, a student at the academy, is one of the most promising soldiers produced. Although ridiculed by everyone for being a slave, which is German for slave, with no memories of his past, he is befriended by a fellow student called Mikage. While preparing for the final exam, Tato uncovers a dark secret related to his past. When an attempt to assassinate Ayanami, a high-ranking official who killed his father, fails, Tato is locked away awaiting punishment. Only wanting the best for Tato, Mikage helps him escape. Tato ends up at the 7th District Church, where he is taken in by the bishops. It is here that Tato attempts to evade the grasp of Ayanami and the military so he can rediscover his memories and learn why he is the person that can change the fate of the world. Arifureta Shukugyo de Sekai Saikyu. The ordinary life of 17-year-old Otaku Hajime Nagamo is disrupted when he and his classmates are summoned to a fantasy world and tasked with saving mankind. While his classmates are gifted with impressive abilities useful in combat, Hajime is belittled for only gaining an inferior transmutation skill that lacks any real offensive power. During an expedition in the Great Orcus Labyrinth, Hajime is betrayed by one of his classmates, plummeting him to the bottom of an abyss. Though he survives the fall, Hajime is faced with menacing monsters and misfortunes that send him spiraling into a grim nightmare. Desperate to live and return home one day, he resolves to fight for his survival, only to meet an imprisoned vampire he names Yu, who is also seeking to escape the labyrinth. Taking an interest in him, Yu and a few others along the way accompany Hajime on his journey to find a way back home, while steadily transforming from commonplace to the world's strongest. Bungo Stray Dogs. Dead Apple. A large-scale catastrophe is occurring across the planet. Ability users are discovered after the appearance of a mysterious fog, apparently have committed suicide, so the armed detective agency sets out to investigate these mysterious deaths. The case seems to involve an unknown ability user referred to as Collector, a man who could be the mastermind behind the incident. Trust and courage are put to the test in order to save the city of Yokohama and ability users across the world from the grip of the Collector, where the armed detective agency forms an unlikely partnership with the dangerous Port Mafia. Tower of God. Tower of God centers around a boy called 25th Bam, who has spent most of his life trapped beneath a vast and mysterious tower, with his only close friend Rachel to keep him company. When Rachel enters the tower, Bam manages to open the door into it as well, and faces challenges at each floor of this tower as he tries to find his closest companion. Quanzi Gaosho. Widely regarded as a trailblazer and top-tier professional player in the online multiplayer game Glory, Ye Zhu is dubbed the Battle God for his skills and contributions to the game over the years. However, when forced to retire from the team and to leave his gaming career behind, he finds work at a nearby internet cafe. There, when Glory launches its 10th server, he throws himself into the game once more using a new character named Lord Grimm. Ye Zhu's early achievements on the new server immediately catch the attention of many players, as well as the big guild, leaving them to wonder about the identity of this exceptional player. However, while he possesses 10 years of experience and in-depth knowledge, starting afresh with neither sponsors nor a team in a game that has changed over the years presents numerous challenges. Along with talented new comrades, Ye Zhu once again dedicates himself to traversing the path to glory summit. Akuma no Riddle. Tokaku Azuma has just transferred to the elite Myojo Academy, a private girls' boarding school. But there's a catch. She, along with 11 of her fellow students in Class Black, is an assassin taking part in the challenge to kill their sweet-natured classmate Haru Ichinose. Whoever succeeds will be granted their deepest desire, no matter the difficulty or cost. However, each assassin only gets one chance. If they fail to kill her, they will be expelled. Despite the extraordinary reward, Tokaku decides to take a different course of action. Though Haru is her target, the young assassin soon finds herself drawn to the very girl she is supposed to kill. With the entire class out for Haru, Tokaku refuses to let her friend die, vowing to protect her from a growing bloodlust. Gleipnir. What does one consider to be a monster? A horrible blood-sucking vampire? Frankenstein's creation? Suichi Kagaya has a secret. Other than having great grades and being skilled at sports, he isn't what one would call normal. In fact, Suichi cannot even be considered a human. One fateful morning, he woke up as a monster. With brute strength, an abnormally strong sense of smell, big fluffy paws, and the depression and self-hate that comes after losing one's humanity, his life was suddenly flipped upside down. Claire Aoki, the girl he had decided to save, now holds his secret over his head. Claire is a sadistic and utterly twisted girl with no sense of empathy towards the lives of others. Before meeting Shuichi, she was in the search of monsters, hoping to find her monster sister. Despite becoming a monster, Shuichi naively continues to hold on to his human morals, but how long can one last in this insufferable way of living? Number 4. God of High School. It all began as a fighting tournament to seek out the best fighter among all high school students in Korea. Mori Jin, a taekwondo specialist and a high school student, soon learns that there is something much greater beneath the stage of the tournament.